Is this the stupid mother that tailed you uptown?
There seems to be some mistake. My name is...
Names is for tombstones, baby.
Hello there. My name is Andy Edwards, and on this video, I am going to go through the 10 bands with the worst names, right? Some bands have cool names. Soundgarden, that's a cool name, isn't it? Totally cool, that one is. Who else has got a cool name that's a band? Well, it's quite hard, I would say. 9 Inch Nails, that sounds pretty dark and scary, doesn't it? And conjures up, you know, big nails. So, I'm going to sneeze. Achoo! Oh. Oh my God. Bloody, that's no way to start a video, is it? Oh, bloody hell. I hope I'm not coming down with a cold. I've been having a bit of difficulty getting my words out. The usual, you know, speedy delivery that I utilise on these sorts of videos has not been coming forth. I've been getting very tongue-tied. I've just done the 10 most moody musicians. And I haven't been able to get my words out. I'm trying to slow down a little bit. But then that sneeze tells me that I might be coming down with a little bit of a cold. So you heard it first and you saw it first. And hang on. There we go. Sorry about that. Right. So, I'm going to go through the 10 worst band names. Now, if you get on the internet, you will find all sorts of bands with weird names. You'll be going to be able to find a Bandcamp for Natalie Portman's Bald Head. There's a band called that. You know, or Donald Trump's Pumpkin. There isn't a band called that. I made that up, but I could set up a Bandcamp now. These aren't bands. These are to get on this list. You have to have got a record out properly with a record deal. It's got to be a proper band to have the name, right? And some of these are massive bands. I really want to concentrate on the massive bands here. But the first, you know, I say the first 3 aren't so well known. But I did want to. I'm going to try and deal with those sort of collectively, so we can zip through the first 3. Because the first 3 all come from the era of the new wave of British heavy metal. Now, the new wave of British heavy metal seemed to have many bands that really had some stupid names, really stupid names, right? And I don't know what it is. It was like a certain amount of lack of taste. In fact, there's another band here that's coming at number 2 that was also from that period with an equally stupid name. There was so many stupid names, and I wanted to collect some of those together so I could celebrate those bands here, if at least briefly, on my channel. And so if anybody said, have you covered the aforementioned band, I said, yeah, I've talked about them on the channel, and I feel that will be an achievement. So at number 10 from that period, we've got Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. Now this, as you can see, is Dumpy. That's Dumpy there. And I don't know what the Rusty Nuts are. I don't know whether the Rusty Nuts are the rest of the band or whether he is in possession of some Rusty Nuts. Now, the rustiness may suggest sort of a reddish type of, you know, a rusty red colour, like a ginger colour. Now, I don't want to go down that path. But you could say, if you're analysing it as though it was something serious, Rusty Nuts could be an allusion to ginger nuts, couldn't it? Rusty's ginger nuts. Now, ginger nuts, that's a biscuit here in the UK. In America, because you don't understand the bloody language properly, you would call that a cookie. But we call it a biscuit. You have a biscuit for something else. I don't know, bloody Americans can't really use the language like the weedy who invented it. You've got to change it to your own rules all the time. The bloody elevators and pavements, you know. No, we have pavements, don't we? Getting off the subject here, aren't you, Andy? Right, Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. So there's an allusion to ginger nuts, the biscuits there. Don't mind that. But also, it could be actually describing ginger nuts, i.e. A part of Dumpy's physique in the old underpants area. You know what we're saying? So Dumpy's Rusty Nuts, who were they, you might be asking if you don't know. They're like a cross between Hawkwind and the Mac Lads. Who's the Mac Lads, Andy? They're even less famous than Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. And the reason is because Dumpy's Rusty Nuts never sold any records. That's why they're right down at number 10. They did sell a few, they tried, and they were around. But the thing with Dumpy's Rusty Nuts, their sort of live show has meant that they've kept going and they have been able to create a name for them. So that we're up and going, aren't we? Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. They used to share the bill a lot with my old band IQ. They did a lot of gigs together. Right, IQ is a bit of a silly name as well, really, isn't it? You know, I mean, IQ. For a prog band, it's too short and it's like, it's a bit boastful, isn't it? Really. But I haven't put them on the list, obviously, because I know them and I don't want to upset them. But you've said it now, so if they do watch it, they're going to watch it, Andy. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to do this quick because I'm going to have a treat for you for these first three. So at number 10, I've got Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. And at number 9, I have Toad the Wet Sprocket. Yes, that's an actual band name, and you're looking at them now, Toad the Wet Sprocket. And that's always the one that's brought up in the new wave of British heavy metal, is Toad the Wet Sprocket. But for me, beating all of these in this little subsection of new wave of British heavy metal silly band names here, would be Ethel the Frog. Now, of course, those of you who know your Monty Python, Toad the Wet Sprocket and Ethel the Frog are both allusions to, or they are like homages to Monty Python. I think the Toad the Wet Sprocket could well be off one of their albums, so it's quite an obscure reference, and I think Ethel the Frog is from one of their sketches, I think, but I'm not sure. But they're both taken from Monty Python. Now, I'm friends with the lead singer of Ned's Atomic Dustbin, and Ned's Atomic Dustbin I nearly put on the list, but I actually think that's quite a cool name. It's so silly, but it's cool in the same way. Ned's Atomic Dustbin got their name from The Goon Show. And so British bands have often pulled all sorts of references from that show. And I think that's a very interesting thing. I have too. Every now and then you will see my Andy Edwards production thing come up. It will come up at the end of this video. And you will see that those silly walks that you're looking at are also from Monty Python. I didn't create that. I just stole it from Monty Python. Now, I can remember being backstage when I was playing with a certain, rock legend, and the whole bunch of rock types, various legends and rock types from the classic era of rock turned up at our gig. And when they all met each other, I noticed that they were reciting bits of Ripping Yarns, which was a spin-off from Monty Python. And of course, Monty Python's first film, The Holy Grail, was funded and paid for by the aforementioned rock bands that we are making an allusion to. A lot of use of the word allusion on this one. And so the Monty Python is almost like another classic rock band there with Sabbath and Zeppelin and Deep Purple and all those bands. It's as though, especially Led Zeppelin, they loved a bit the old Monty Python, they did. Anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about these first three. I wanted to get them out of the way, then we got to spend more time explaining these other bands and why I put them on the list. So what I thought I'd do, because you haven't really got your money's worth here, was create a little tribute to Ethel the Frog. And here it is.
My name is Ethel the Frog, and I'm a frog, a frog, 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 frog. He's a frog, a little froggy, froggy frog. She likes to eat froggy. Do you wanna meet Ethel the Frog? Yeah. She's not a pig-head dog or a bug. Oh no. She doesn't live in a pond or a bog. She's not a friend with
Did you enjoy that? It was cool, wasn't it? Yes. Right, so shall we move on? At number 7, I have the Butthole Surfers. Now, that is an awful name for a band. Now, are the Butthole Surfers some way out punk band, or are they just a comedy band? What are they? I'm not too sure. You know, and a lot of their album titles, they're a little bit, it's like a parodies. What was that one that was the Hairway to Stephen? What was it? That Stairway to Heaven? Well, I don't know. And I don't know, Butthole Surfers. It's an awful name. I'm just moving on from it. I don't want to, but we got that on there. I'm going to move on because I haven't got much to say about that, because any humour that I extract from that band name is not going to be savoury, is it?
A finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat. A finger of fudge is just enough until it's time to eat. It's full of crabbery goodness and very small and neat. A finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat.
Number 6, I have Bananarama.
A finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat. A finger of fudge is just enough until it's time to eat. It's full of crabbery goodness and very small and neat. A finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat.
Now, here we now move into bands that had a lot of success. Pop bands, bands that got in the charts. And Bananarama could well be the most talentless band to ever have many hits. So there used to be an amazing band from Coventry called The Specials. And when The Specials decided to call it a day, a couple of the guys out of that, they went and formed a band that wasn't quite as good, but they were all right, called Fun Boy 3. Now, Fun Boy 3, again, The Specials, that's cool. Fun Boy 3, that's not cool. And they had these girls, and these are obviously girls that they knew. You know, they seemed like, a little bit like the girls in Human League. It's like, do you want to be in a band? Yeah, we don't mind being in a band. So they go and grab these girls in. And they were their backing singers. Now, these 3 girls, right? They weren't super attractive, but they weren't ugly. They were just sort of average girls, right? The one was quite nice with the black hair. You know the one? Anyway, they would sing in a unison, monotone way. When I used to teach, we would often have 2 girls come on the college and they both sung, but they weren't confident. So they would say, can we do a song together? I go, okay then. And then they'd stand on stage together and both sing in a monotone way, unison. No harmonies, just unison. And it sounded awful. And I used to say, this sounds awful. You're going to have to either split the thing up and sing one and then the other, or harmonise. You can't just sing unison. And my example of why you couldn't do that was Bananarama. So Bananarama are an awful band. They had many hits. One about Robert De Niro. He was waiting, apparently. Robert De Niro's waiting, talking Italian. You hear that melody there? That's the 3-note melody. Robert De Niro's waiting, talking Italian. That's when somebody can't sing. Most pop songs now follow that formula of the 3 notes going up and down like that. You know. So girls, what's your range? Just so I know whereabouts you sing. Oh, it's around about the note E. And so how much latitude they got? An octave, maybe got octave and octave? No. Just E flat and F. That's all we've got. Although it would be D. No, I could go down to a D. D, E and F. There we go. Right, so Bananarama decided that they were going to go solo. And so they decided they're going to come up with a name. And so they had no original idea. So they decided to take their name from a Roxy Music song called Pyjamarama. And So let's examine the thinking behind this. You got Roxy Music. Now they're usually quite cool, aren't they? Roxy Music's a really cool name. You have tracks like Love Is the Drug. That's love is the drug that I'm thinking of. Oh, another bloke who can't sing, but at least he's created his own wobbly voice, you know. He's like David Bowie with no range sound. That's what Brian Ferry's got. Oh, Avalon. You know, he's got all that going on. But they make up for it by being cool. Roxy Music were always cool, weren't they? So why do they do a song called Pajamarama? What the hell? But I mean, pajamas aren't cool.
Bananas in pajamas are coming down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas are coming down in pairs.
Pajamas aren't cool, are they? Only uncool people wear pajamas, don't they? I mean, I wear pajamas now, and I'm sure a lot of you wear pajamas. But I bet you when you were young, I bet you went to bed in just a pair of boxer shorts, bare-chested and all that bit. You know, not pajamas. You know, imagine you're watching James Bond and he's in bed and someone's decided to, you know, have some tarantula come down and walk all over him, you know. Well, you know, they're going to, because, you know, in Sean Connery's case, he's bare-chested in bed, huge hairy chest, like that tarantula is going to be attracted to that. It's going to think it's the same species as him. You go, what's this huge, great big tarantula? I want to mate with it. And so he's walking all over it. Now, of course, if Sean Connery was a proper secret agent, he'd know there's safety in a set of tarantula-proof pajamas, which I'm sure Q could rustle up in an instant. I mean, Bond, I have made for you these pajamas. They're tarantula-proof. Don't do something silly with them, like just wear them and try and fend off another beast, like a snake, because they won't work. Oh, Bond, I'm so dismissive of you. You know, all that bit. So, pajamas aren't cool, right? Now, what's a pajama-rama? Now, when you put rama on it, what does that mean? That usually means it's like some sort of big, it's like a panorama, isn't it? So I don't know what they're trying to say with this pajama rama thing. I don't know. So it shows that these three girls hadn't got a clue. I quite like that name, pajama rama. We can't just steal that. Well, just what sounds a bit like pajama, right? So they get the thesaurus out, and there's a vague similarity. Oh, I've got a cold coming to keep my throat going. Oh, struggling here. We'll get through it, don't worry. I will soldier on. Oh, rubbish. So, so they get, oh, where am I going with this? Bloody Bananarama. What's a Bananarama? Is it a panorama of bananas? What's that got to do with these three girls? It's a silly name, Bananarama. Now, when I came to write it down as well, I can't spell that. It's too much A's and R's and A's. It's like Mississippi, isn't it? I can't spell it. I can't spell it at all. So, Bananarama, that's what we got at number 6. Let's get a move on. This is rubbish, this one. Right, at number 5, I've got the Sex Pistols. Now, the Butthole Surfers are famous enough that when you say their name, you don't go, ugh. But with the Sex Pistols, for some reason, when my kids were little, my wife, being a massive Sex Pistols fan, she had a thing on the wall, and it was like this big thing, and it was like, never mind the bollocks, the Sex Pistols. And my kids used to go to school, and they'd just learned to read, and they'd come home, and they'd read that and try and read it out. And I used to think, if I would never put that poster up with those words in that order for my little kids to see. But with the Sex Pistols, it's been mentioned so many times that we forget what it means. It's awful. It's an awful name. I tell you, when I think about what it means, it gives me the willies. Literally gives me the willies. So this is what we start to get. Now, this is here at number 5. I can now start to bring in a phenomenon that I really wanted to address on this video, and it'll probably be the only little bit of useful information on here. I've got the theory that a band name can be absolutely anything. And this is strange because bands spend more time coming up with the band name than anything else. So this is what bands do. Someone plays guitar and they manage to meet someone else who plays maybe drums or bass. So they meet someone and they go, oh, do you play the bass? Yeah. Oh, you should play the guitar? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You should come round for a jam. So they meet up. This is how all bands are formed. They go out to the person's house. Now, at this point, it's all fun. We're just having a laugh. You know, they pick the guitar up. What do you know? I don't know. Do you know Hey Joe? No, how's that one go? Oh, it's a C to a G, then a D, A to E. But all major, yeah. Yeah, just play the notes. Oh, so you mean I'll go like. Let's move it up, yeah. Well, that sounds all right. Shall we have a go at it then? Yeah. Can you sing it? I'll have a go. I've never sung before, but I don't know whether I can. Oh, go on, you sing. Oh, I don't know whether I can. Oh, no, go on, you sing. Oh, I don't know whether I can. Oh, no, I'll have a go. Don't laugh, though. Don't listen to me, will you? You just play your bass. Right, so here we go. Hey, Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? Hey, I went wrong then. Were you all right? Yeah, I didn't go wrong then. I did. Shall we do it again? Yeah, have another go at it. Hey, Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? Can you do this bit? Yeah, can you do that? Right, so this is how bands start, right? You weren't bad singing then, do you think? Yeah, I thought it was quite good, you singing then. Yeah, I thought I couldn't sing. No, I think you can sing. That's a massive lie. But with that, they then go, we should form a band. This doesn't happen in any other pursuit. You would never get a bloke go around and say, oh, I've just bought some paints today. You know, and I've got a great big canvas and I've slapped some paints on here and I've managed to get this big painting of a cat done. Right? Really, look at that. I'm going to become a painter, a famous painter. I'm going to become an artist. Nobody does that. Nobody does it with any other pursuit whatsoever. Nobody does it. Right? You know, someone goes to like B&Q and they buy a shed and they take the shed home. They get their mate round and they nail the shed up. Nobody says, I'm going to become an architect now. Nobody, but they do it. As soon as they've got that down, they think they should form a band. For some reason, they think the world wants that. Right? So then they ask around and they get a drummer and the drummer comes in. Right? And then they sit and they all play their Hey Joe. Right? Badly. Then, after about 2 years of going to what they call band rehearsal, which often for many is just an excuse to get away from the wife and kids for a couple of hours, right? They've got 6 songs and they say, well, let's go and get a gig. And at that point, they say, yeah, but we need a band name. And then these fellows will then go to the pub and sit round a table and for way longer than they did, you know, well, this band spent 2 years getting those crap cover versions together. But anyway, they will spend a long time trying to think of a band name. And this is like, people get stuck, you know, so they're there. Oh, we need to have something cool. Well, what's cool? I don't know, like ice cream. How about ice cream? Nah, couldn't have that. We could have I scream. That's like a pun. Oh, I like that. Ice cream. Yeah, that's really good. Have a Google of it. Oh my God, there's 20 bands with that name. Oh, I can't have that then. Oh, so what should we have then? I don't know. What's your favourite animal? I like a platypus. Why don't we call ourselves platypus? We can't just be platypus. Most bands have got 2 words and they have something that describes the platypus, don't they? They describe the platypus in a certain way. So he might be timid. How about timid platypus? Nah, I don't like timid platypus. What about a fat platypus? Fat platypus is quite good. Let's do that then. Google that one. Surprisingly, there's only 4 bands with that name and 2 of them are from New Zealand. Let's go for it then. Platypus, fat platypus. And there they are. booking a gig under the name Flat Platypus, right? Now, that decision that goes on and the big wrangle, my theory is it actually does not matter because, as the Sex Pistols show us, any name, once it gets into use, however stupid it will lose its stupidity. And I have a feeling that the more stupid it is, the more it works. Cool band names don't work as well as silly ones because when you see the silly one, you go, what? And you get a reaction straight off. You get a reaction. And that feeling, we go, oh, that's a terrible band name, right? Then anyone approaching that band's music is going to go, oh, I bet this is bloody terrible. They're idiots, aren't they? How can they call their band that? And then they listen to it. And then when it's quite good, they go, oh, this is actually really good. Because you've led the person to... I'm telling you some truth here. If you're in a band, call yourself something terrible. You know, like Graphic Parrot. You know, or the Mighty Farts. Anything, the Mighty Farts. Fine. I can't call a band that's ridiculous. No, because if you can have the Sex Pistols, you can have the Mighty Farts. You know, another name for the male member. We'll do it. You know, how about the Squirty Johnsons? So these next ones follow that. They are all massive bands with terrible names, right? And number 4, I've got Lynyrd Skynyrd. Now, I love Lynyrd Skynyrd. I think they're a great band, okay? But the problem with Lynyrd Skynyrd is, the reason why I don't ever really talk about them that much is because I do actually do some research for this channel, you see. And when I research, I have to write the name into Google, and I don't know how to spell Lynyrd Skynyrd. I have listened to this band for 40 years. I don't know how you spell Lynyrd Skynyrd. I know it's got lots of Y's and lots of N's and lots of R's and lots of D's in there, but not in a logical order that you... look, I've got my notes here. Right, I'll show you my notes. I don't want you to see... I'll rip this off here. Hang on. I'm ripping it off so you can't see the top 3 because they're really good ones. Oh, I've got a bit wrong there. Right, so... this is my list here. You can see I've written Lynyrd Skynyrd there. You see that? Lynyrd Skynyrd. Lynyrd, you could hardly read my writing, it's a scrawl, but I don't know how to spell it. Even now, I don't know how to spell that band's name, Lynyrd Skynyrd. Now, here, any self-respecting music YouTuber will then impart you with the famous story of how they got that name. They all used to go to school together, right? And they had a teacher who was called Lynyrd Skynyrd. He was born in 1930. And I think he died around about 2011, I think. So he would have been at that point 89 years old. So he lived a fair way. He actually outlived some of the guys, obviously, because nobody left from Lynyrd Skynyrd. Anyway, that's beside the point. And this teacher, Lynyrd Skynyrd, told them off for having long hair. So they decided as vengeance to name the band after him, which I would be quite proud to have my name. I was a teacher. No one's named a band, Dandy Fedwoods or something like that and then become massively famous. I would be honoured. Lynyrd Skynyrd was friends with the guys. He remained friends with many of them. So I imagine that was a very nice relationship that happened. Anyway. Lynyrd Skynyrd, right? It's not actually a bad name in itself, Lynyrd Skynyrd, but it's the lack of spellability, like Bananarama. But with Lynyrd Skynyrd, I really don't know how to spell it, and I'm surprised. But I suppose, did it matter in the 1970s before Google? It begins with L, so you could go to the record shop and see it, and if it's on the radio, they'd say it, Lynyrd Skynyrd. So that's what I got at number 4 on my list, is Lynyrd Skynyrd. Right. Let's get to the big 3 now. Number 3, I have Metallica. I think there should be a rule that if you're playing in a genre you can't have the genre's name in the title of your band, right? I think if you called yourselves the Reggae Kings, yeah, I don't like it because it's like you're trying to sell me, the listener, I'll make a judgment if it's reggae or not. You know, don't try and over-egg the pudding, you know. But the Ica that they've put on at the end of this, Metallica, right? That sounds like an encyclopedia to me, all right? Like the Encyclopedia Britannica. And so if you want to make something sound encyclopedic, you can put Ica at the end. So theoretically, we could take any of the styles. You know, we could take jazz, and that would become Jazzica. Or we could take, I don't know, ska, and that would be called Skarica, you see? Now, nobody would have a band. They would never be the biggest ska band in the world called Skarica, or the biggest funk band in the world is called Funkica, or the biggest prog band is called Progica. Well, they probably would do that. But with heavy metal, they've done it. Now, the thing is, they didn't even come up with this. In the early 1980s, I can remember when I used to read my copies of Kerrang, right? And there's the international symbol of reading Kerrang there. And I'd sit there reading it. When I got to the back, they used to advertise this encyclopedia. And it was called the Encyclopedia Metallica. And I really wanted to order this. I imagined it would come through in sort of 5 leather-bound editions, but I think it was just a thin sort of paperback thing. Anyway, the Encyclopedia Metallica, some of you may have owned it. So Metallica not only took the worst name on of any metal band ever, but they didn't even come up with it. They stole it off the Encyclopedia Metallica, where it makes sense because it wasn't an encyclopedia of metal. So that makes sense. It's an allusion to the Britannica. Now you could say that this is an allusion to Britannica, except that they're not British. So you get Metallica, there's no point in it whatsoever. But of course, Metallica then become really famous. And we say that, we look at the logo, nobody questions it, do they? Right, now you're starting to see this pattern. Let's move on to number 2 now. At number 2, I've got Def Leppard. Now, Def Leppard fits in to the fat platypus, right? Take an object and then put a description on it. If it's a prog band, rather than a description, just pick any mythical character, right? And then an object. So that's the rule for prog. But let's just go for the normal rule now. So you pick any object. An animal will do it, or some sort of, I don't know. Well, I'll look around. What can I see in here? Tripod. There's a tripod over there, right? So then what sort of tripod is it? It could be a, I don't know, electric tripod. You see? And you've got a band name straight off, Electric Tripod. If you're a prog band, you take someone from the past or a mythical character like Ramesses, and then you think of something in the world like, say, Satchel, right? I'm just looking at things in the room. So now you get Ramesses, Satchel, prog band sorted. This is the basic rules of this. Now, probably when we look at the heavy metal bands, we've got Black Sabbath, we have got Deep Purple, and we have got Led Zeppelin. Right now, these are not following the 1960s naming, which is any word with the word "the" in front of. So I'm going to look at something now, and I've got a rabbit over there in a cup. No, I really have got a rabbit. You don't believe me? I've got a rabbit over there. You don't believe me? I'm looking at a rabbit over there. I haven't just made it up. There's a rabbit in a cup over there. Oh, bloody hell, you lot! You don't believe anything. Rabbit in a cup. Now, do you think I'd put that? Do you think I was going to know at the end of this video that I was going to have a rabbit in a cup? Bit of advertising there. Achoo! Oh, here we go. Oh, I'm going to be in bed tomorrow with the old Lemsip. A very loyal viewer sent this mug to me, and they probably spotted it in the background, but they never knew it would feature in the video as it has done here, and have this little fellow, Peter Rabbit, in it. How about that? There. Oh, he looks cute, doesn't he? I like him there. You might stay, mate. I like it. I can ask you advice like that. You could be another prop like that. A nice little cute rabbit. You know, would you call a band after a rabbit? Yeah, you would. Rabbit. What sort of rabbit would it be? It would be what? Tell me. Nasty. Right, so in the 70s, if you're a rock band, it would be called Nasty Rabbit. In the 60s, it would just be The Rabbits, right? Now, Led Zeppelin famously were named after the English phrase for something that hasn't gone down well. So, you know, when something doesn't go down well, you could say, well, what did it go down like? It went down like a lead balloon. Obviously, a lead balloon's floaty and doesn't go down, but if it was made of lead, which is very heavy, it would fall down. But the only thing I've always felt with that saying, lead balloon, is it could be made of anything, as long as it's not made of air or helium or maybe steam. But it could be made of, even if it's made of feathers. A feather balloon would just fall to the ground in exactly the same way, right, as a lead balloon, right? It's basic physics. Do you remember when they went to the moon and they got the feather and the hammer and let it drop at the same time, and they will all fall down? But actually, if you took a balloon as well to the moon and did it the same experiment with a balloon and a hammer, the same thing would happen, right? Proving my point, I think, maybe. Do you think that proves my point? No. Anyway, we'll carry on, shall we? I like you there. It's good to have a little bit. If any kids are watching now, they've watched over 1,200 videos on this channel, and they go, there's nothing for me. Nothing for me watching Andy's videos. He did one on crisps and biscuits, that's it. Well, you're in luck, kids, because I've now got a little rabbit. Yeah, got a little rabbit on here. What I need is I could just, if I put him here like this, can you see my hand now? Was that? No, you can see my hand. I need to get rid of the hand because then I can wobble him when he talks. You could wobble me when I talk, yeah? I could do a ventriloquist thing, couldn't I? Oh, you could talk like that. Oh, hello, Mr. Harry. Hello, Andy. How are you today? Anyway, you're getting desperate, aren't you? Desperate for views. Right, so Led Zeppelin were famously named by Keith Moon, although John Entwistle said it was him. I don't know who it was. That they said an actor like Led Zeppelin will go down like a lead balloon. That's the most stupid thing anyone's ever said. You know, stupid. Didn't go down like a lead balloon. So they called themselves Led Zeppelin. Now, the thing is rather than spell it L-E-A-D, which I imagine they didn't spell it like that because then everyone would think it was Lead Zeppelin. So they decided to change it to Led, L-E-D. So you get the Led Zeppelin thing, right? Now, let's fast forward to the new wave of British heavy metal. And all these bands all over England are getting together and they're coming up with these names. You see now I'm starting to tie this together now. Dumpy's Rusty Nuts, Toad the Wet Sprocket, Ethel the Frog, Handsome Beasts. Handsome Beasts? I mean, do you remember them? They weren't handsome. Do you remember this album cover that you're looking at now? Well, I'll tell you another fact you don't realise. Have you watched that Phil Aston bloke? You know, the now splitting bloke, the nice one, who's like, it's like, he's like the, you know, the universe has to have yin and yang. You've got me, music YouTuber, and then you got Phil. And Phil's the nicest, never says a nasty thing about anything. If he gets contentious, it'll be like something like, oh, the pressing of this, I felt that brown on the, you know, the golden browny colour of Made in Japan. When you look at the Japanese copy that came out in 1984, slightly different colour. I don't like that so much. That's Phil Aston. You know, I came on my channel, tried to get him to say something nasty, couldn't do it. He was in Handsome Beasts. How are you in a band like this and end up so nice? Because this fellow doesn't look so nice, does he? Anyway, so in this period where the new wave of British heavy metal's coming out, let's go up to Sheffield. And there's a bunch of blokes there going, hey, we should come up with a name, shouldn't we? Yeah, what should we call ourselves? How about something like Led Zeppelin? Well, I was watching Andy's videos. He said, just come up with an animal. What, like? Well, I don't know, tiger or like this accent still. Tiger or lion. Could have that. How about a leopard? Leopard would be good. What sort of leopard would it be? Now, at this point, they could have had electric leopard. They could have had something like the lightning leopards. They could have anything. But what did they decide to call their leopard? What sort of leopard did they want to describe? A deaf leopard. You know, a deaf leopard. Creeping up on its prey. Magnificent, sleek, proud. its attentive organs focus on its prey. Any scratch or whimper the leopard is aware of. Aren't you, Leppard? 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 Leppard, did you hear what I just said? I said you're attentive. You're sleek, but you're attentive. You've got your eyes on the prey. Leppard! 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 Can you hear me, Leppard? Are you ignoring me, or are you deaf? Oh my God, it's a deaf leopard. Right, so that's what that conjures up to me. Is that. And I find that stupid. Now then they went, yeah, but here, I've got to get back to the accent. Here, that's really good, that is. Def Leppard, but why didn't we do what Led Zeppelin did and call it Def DEF? Because lead is spelled Lead, but deaf, there's not another word, so you could just kept it Def Leppard. And then they changed it to Def DEF, then bringing in the connotations from hip-hop, where deaf has another complete... And I don't think they meant that, did they? So you don't think, oh yeah, they were down with the hip-hop, it's like Def Jam, no, they're not down with that. And it just magnifies how bloody rubbish they are. So Def Leppard, as a band name, is like multi-leveled. It's multi-leveled in how bad it is. It's an awful name. I've just gone through it all. So you can see where we're at. We can see why that got to number 2. So now we are at number 1. So what's the worst band name in history? And I believe this goes without saying that this is the worst band name in history. It is, drum roll please, the Beatles. Now the Beatles were originally called the Silver Beatles. And when they were called the Silver Beatles, which is a terrible name, right? And that is following the naming structure that you would have had in the 1970s, although they did have the at the beginning. They weren't just called Silver Beatles. See, Silver Beatles sounds like a sort of bit of an American sort of country rock band, Silver Beatles. The Silver Beatles, suddenly we're in the early 60s. So we've got the Silver Beatles. Now, apparently they called themselves that because they copied Bud Holly and the Crickets. Now, I think the Crickets as a name for a band is not that great, okay? But at least with the Crickets, you imagine that you got Buddy Holly singing. So you got Buddy Holly there, yeah. Now, as I'm playing that, in the background, you got the Crickets and they go, big it up. Let's get to the bit, I forgot about the... No, what is it? Oh man, Biggie. I love that bit. I love Buddy Holly. He's bloody amazing. Buddy Holly was amazing. And I tell you something, Peggy Sue was a real woman. She died a few years ago. She was around, and the great and the good of the rock establishment would go and see Peggy Sue. They looked after her. She was okay after Buddy Holly died in 1959 or whenever it was. But the Crickets in the background, you imagine Crickets with their clicking, it conjures up some musicians, double bass. That would be one of the big legs coming up, wouldn't it? And then the drummer going, and that's what it sounded like, So that's fair enough, but you can't then go, what about the Beatles? Because Beatles don't do any music. They just work scurrying around and they're hard shells. It's not the same. So straight off, and then you find out that some of the other bands got the name of the Beatles. So you go, well, we can't call ourselves that. Well, should we call ourselves the Silver Beatles? No, don't. Just come up with another name. You can do it. It's the 60s. Anything. The teapots. Right, that's better. The feet. The rabbits, the cups, the mugs, anything with the on the end. I mean, it's like at some point with all these bands with got the Kinks, the Meteors, all these the bands in the 60s that was then brought back in the 1980s. That with all these the bands, there were so many bands that would go, oh, we're called the Monkeys. I'm trying to think of what doesn't exist. The Hollies. No, that we got the Hollies. Anyway. people must have gone, what, The Who? And then The Who decided to call themselves that, and they got away with that. And I haven't put that on the list because The Who is not as bad as the Beatles. So say you've got to that point. Absolutely ridiculous, right? Then you go, yeah, but why don't we change the name and misspell it? And we'll get the word beat, as in the beats of a drum, into the pun. The Beatles. My question is why? What do you think? Yeah, he thinks it's quite a good name. End of the video. Got there in the end, didn't we, Peter? Yeah, you were right in there. He looks a bit dazed. I know, I can't believe I do this for a living either. I know, I can't believe it. I used to do proper things in the old days, yeah. Actual useful things. Now I come and do this. They seem to like it. Did you like that one? Was that okay? I wanted to do a couple of frivolous ones this week. Going to get some real frivolous ones in. So we could get a lot of frivolity in the bank of frivolousness, which I can stock up, and then I can do some serious videos, which I do really want to do. So thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, stick a like on it. If you want to see some more, subscribe. If you want to become a member of my Patreon, you can become a member on my Patreon, a free member or a paid member. And then, if you feel so fit, you could then become a member here or pay some money into my PayPal tip jar. So we're at the end of the videos. I've done two this morning. I've done the 10 most moodiest musicians, and I've done the bands worth, and I'm not felt well, Peter, at all. So I hope I get away with this. But you know me, I never stop. I come here every day. We get a video. They have. It's very rare that they've missed a video. Every single day I put a video out. So you got to respect that, haven't you? Got to do respect that, Mr. Rabbit. All right, then we're done. Bye bye.